A very, very important book launch. I'm very excited to be here. I know how book launches are, so we're doing it so very different. Now, for those of you who already know me, this is going to come as a shocker to you, because I'm a discussant on a book called Mind Your Own Business, when my business is minding other people's business, okay? So this is like going to be such a shocker, but I'm going to personally purchase about 10 copies of this book today to send it to my sister-in-law, because she needs to learn how to mind her own business. And I want that thing personally signed with her name, and I will drop it off. I'll be visiting her after 3 years, but it's okay. I'm excited to be here. You know, today is not just empowering a woman that has succeeded to this level. Today is about going out and getting everything she says you must. So I'm excited you're here. And before we start, guys, it's an exciting moment. It's not that book launch where we're going to be silent. Those days of going to the library are over. We have evolved. We're going to be louder. So firstly, clap your hands and get ready. We are doing that. Yeah. Also, people came here to peacefully shop, so don't make so much of noise, okay? Just for like 10 minutes, can we just make noise? It's exciting to be here. You learn when to mind your own business, especially when you are married. I mean, I find that is an issue. So one copy has to go to my husband. He's here. He's hearing everything I say, but he's sedated, and I've got about an hour, okay? So we're good to go after this. I'm very excited, but before I introduce this woman in, I'm so excited to see so many men here. Because two things. They either ran away from their wives because they don't want to do chores, okay? That's why my husband's here, but I'm here with him, okay? And it's nice to see so many men here empowering a woman here today. These people are not related to her, right? You're not related to her? No. You're not her brother, nothing. Okay, you sure? You came on your own, sir? Nobody forced you? Your wife is, oh, she forced you, okay, noted. Tell her she will mind her own business, okay? And you can do that today, because the whole theme today, even when you go home with your book, the whole theme is mind your own business, okay? And you're allowed to say it because she said we can. Gentlemen, if you're married, just clap your hands. Yeah. Life is so bad, you don't have to do anything more today, all right? We got you, we hear you. I'm excited to do this today, guys, because for me to stand here, I don't read books. I read this book. Okay, I read Facebook, all right? Other people's stories, but I actually read this book and I love it. And it gives me such an honor today, because normally when you go to a book launch, the person who's written this book is already sitting here. We're doing it differently. We're creating a vibe. She needs an entrance. She's like, no, I'm not going to do this. People are going to stare. So you know what you must do when she walks? Stare, all right? You make it as uncomfortable as you could, okay? Now, I just want to tell you a little bit about this lady, because sometimes in life, especially women, even men, we don't blow our own horns. We don't see ourselves the way people from another view see us. So today is very important to understand that too. Now, this lovely lady, Nevi Lecture, runs a successful marketing and events agency based in Johannesburg. Anyone from Johannesburg here, clap your hands? Long drive for the two of you. All right, we'll send you home with a book plus onions, potatoes, and tomatoes when you leave in, all right? Now, she has spent more than 20 years in the corporate industry and 13 years experience in the pharmaceutical industry, even though she only looks like she's in her like early 20s, okay? She's polished her knowledge to become an entrepreneur, and she's paved her path with her passion for personal development and her solution-orientated nature. Running a business attracts quite a lot of chaos, and that's where Nevi thrives. She accepts failures, takes risks, and faces challenges. Her thing is, if she can do it, you can too. Those are her experiences and insights that she'll be sharing with us today, and most recently has been listed as one of the top 50 influential people of Southern Africa by Eastern Eye. I'm feeling like underachieved here, so I just want to say I'm one of the top 50 greatest personal trainers of exercise in South Africa. Just listed myself this morning. I haven't lost any weight, but nobody's asking, okay? So we're excited to introduce this beautiful woman in here today, and I want you guys to be interactive. We're going to have an open question session where you can ask anything, so feel free, be comfortable, and let's have fun here this morning. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. But ladies and gentlemen, enough about us here. Let's get the lady of the moment to join us up here, and she's walking in straight from the back. Don't make it awkward. Don't make, wait, hold on. We got a whole theme and a song for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great honor and privilege to introduce to you the lady who's giving you that choice to say mind your own business. It's Nevi Lecture. Let's give her a round of applause. never plays music like that for me. And that's where the problem is going to start first, okay? So I'm excited to be here. Nevi, you look beautiful. You look like this is your moment, and we're so excited to be here to share it with you. Apart from the questions that I have for you today, I think it's so important for us to know other things about a person, and especially of your nature and caliber. So in just a few sentences, tell us who Nevi is, just character.
So Nevi is to my family, Nevi, and not Nevi, but I'm just a charismatic character that loves life, loves people. My love language is acts of service and quality time. So if you want to impress me, just spend time with me, and that would be awesome. Yeah, and I'm appreciative of all the small things in life, the things that we generally forget about, like just living.
And I can't forget to notice that handsome looks like an Italian stallion at the back. That's her husband. You're allowed to look now. Just for reference purpose, ladies. No, we can't clap. Stop it. We can't even be excited because our husbands are like 2 seconds away from us. So obviously, you know, with a woman stands that man beside you, and of course is very supportive. When you walked down here, he had the biggest smile on his face. He had his mask, but I could see through his eyes, okay? I could see, because I searched the whole body of other people's husbands. So I must tell you that I don't read, and when I received this book a couple of weeks ago, I got into it and I couldn't get out of it, okay? And one of the things that stood out, I'm going to talk about a few things, but the way the book is structured for me, especially these little motivational sayings that you have, the one that stood out for me is that excellence is not a skill, it's an attitude. I'm going to repeat that. Excellence is not a skill, it's an attitude. And I sing this song every single day to my husband because I think your attitude determines your altitude. And that is so fitting because the whole chapter speaks about your attitude and how it is. You want to take us through this specific motivational saying, what it's done for you?
Yeah, Natasha, I think that for me, it's absolutely fitting to have included it in the book. I come from an industry where we have a lot of red tape, there's a lot of legislation, we fit it around a box of compliance, and sometimes we forget that we can work around those parameters to achieve great success, and that can only be done when you have a good attitude. And the truth is, we're all going to be facing situations in our life that we don't necessarily like, we don't enjoy, you know, all of those things that make us uncomfortable, but it's your attitude that gets you through them, and or you're going to have to live with those things battering in the back of your brain for a long time.
So I'm going to interpret it the way I see it too. You know, there's always going to be a feedback here. Your attitude determines your altitude. So every time your husband says you have an attitude with my mother, you must say, go read the book. All right? Your attitude determines your altitude of getting to the next level. So I have to ask this question. You were in a successful career, nothing short of anything, and you decided then to open a business. What made you do this? It's a brave step, and it's a big one too. So what made you do this even after having all the security of being in a successful career?
So for me, yes, absolutely. I was at the height of my career. When you read the book, you read the prologue to see that I was actually, I couldn't have furthered my experience in pharmaceutical, and I loved what I did. I just wanted to do it on my own terms. I wanted to make an impact on others. I wanted to empower others. I wanted to just know that I'm making a meaningful and positive contribution. Being in marketing, in a marketing environment, the only way I could navigate outside the parameters of a very traditional marketing outlook was to actually venture into me starting my own business.
And take note of the thing she's saying as well, is that when you reached what you think is your limit in your career, there's a whole new horizon waiting for you. Now, this brings me to my next question, and I think it's something we all suffer from and fear, which is fear itself. The fear of starting something new, the fear of the earning potential, the fear of loss, fear in general. How do you overcome, and I'm using this in present tense because fear never leaves you. Even if you have attained all the success you feel that you're in, you always have fear. How do you deal with these challenges, the fear especially? Because fear is a big one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all experience fear somewhere in our life journey. And I started out with a lot of fear, I need to tell you that. The fear of not having enough money to start a business, the fear of not knowing how to start, the fear of failure, and a big one for me was the fear of mediocrity, because average is just not my thing. And it was, and the only thing that gets you past that is action. So, you know, taking that proverbial plunge and getting into action. And I still feel fear. I think I always will. But I've mastered the art of overcoming it and just getting into action and getting my stuff done.
So I'm sure everybody seated here has a fear. Like, I'm very open about my fear. It's one single fear, but taking action towards this fear is it's the treadmill. But still, it's a big fear. I'm learning how to overcome it and put the switch on. And I'm sure when I go and put that switch on, the action is going to speak. So I also want to say that people have started, even myself, because I was 15 years in a sales industry for insurance. But we become robots. We wake up at 8 a.m. and we close shift at 5 p.m. and that's all we know. And then it's kids, and then it's housework, and then it's husbands, and we don't want to go too far into their mothers, but we'll stop there. And there's all of these other things. And people are facing so many challenges in the workplace itself. Because sometimes people are doing an 8 to 5 job, Monday to Saturday, sometimes Sunday, but they're not really happy. Now with all of these challenges, have you had any experiences like this? What have you faced? And what is the advice that you could give today that would reach out to somebody and say, you know, I know, but this is how we do it?
My experience has taught me that the biggest challenge in the workplace is managing personalities and dealing with personalities. And the best way to do that is to understand those personalities. Because, you know, we all come from different backgrounds, we're working towards something that is necessary to achieve, and then you've got a person that wants to get into action and get it done, and the person that goes, I'm going to stand behind the treadmill and not get going, right? And the two biggest leadership personalities or skills that one has to have, in my opinion, is just some flexibility and communication. And the only way that I was able to achieve both of those is by taking time to understand my team and get to know their personalities better. And you know, you asked for some advice. I have to say that the only thing that I can say is let go of reactivity. Because you know, most people react when their buttons are pushed. And when that happens to me, I wasn't born and created like that. I'm normally the one that goes, what? I had to learn to hone in those responses and take a break, pause, breathe, you know, center myself, and then respond firmly, but honestly. And that has helped me. So, you know, let go of reactivity, rather get into a space where you're better skilled. And just a side note, I learned an amazing thing along my business journey, that the experience, education of people did not govern the relationships I had with them. It is actually their personalities that dictated that.
So, I'm going to go a little bit further here, right? Because obviously the norms of society have really been torn apart now. But it's true what you say, because you'll find that our temper at the workplace has to be structured. We got to take that breath. I mean, what we say in our mind is another story altogether. I speak about everybody all the time, not you guys. I've just met you, so you're all good. But I mean, you've got it. It's such an art to learn how to stop and breathe, because at home we don't need to do this. At home we apply a very different principle. We start talking and then we breathe later if we can. And we sometimes don't want our husbands to breathe, but that's another story altogether. We'll discuss it another. You should do another book called Don't Let Them Breathe. I'll buy like 1,000 copies, and when we say them, brackets, husband. It's difficult to take that moment to pull away, to breathe. I worked in a call center. Most frustrating thing ever, because, you know, you don't know how to pull away, and you got to be professional. And sometimes when you're professional in the workplace, you hate it for doing the right thing too. But I like also, a lot about your book speaks about your character. And it's firm that you believe that your integrity is when you do things when nobody's watching, and the right things. So I like that as well, and I enjoyed those parts of it. Which brings me to my next question. Business relationships are absolutely crucial in any business, whether it's your own or somebody else's business that you are employed to work at. In this book, you told us about an awful experience you had with the customer, okay? And that customer's not here, right? Okay, we're good to go. Okay, we're good to go. I want you to tell us about the principles to exercise with suppliers, but not just that, with these kind of customers, because it doesn't matter what part or level in business you are, whether you're own or working for someone, you always have to have contacts. So how can we exercise these principles, and what can we do? And also tell us a little bit about this customer.
So yeah, it was a customer, and I tried my best to not give it away in the book in terms of that. So if you pick up who it is, you need to call me so I can change it on the next print. But yeah, I think we're going to have difficulties with customers. We're going to have challenges. There's no customer that's absolutely smooth, not 100% of your customers. But that was a learning experience for me. It was a huge learning. And yeah, you know, personalities aside and all of the hierarchy, ladders aside, we really enjoyed, I really enjoyed that journey, because it taught me about other customers that I may face. And it's better to have your integrity intact and walk away from a customer, which this is what we had to do. You need to know that we had a 3-year contract signed, and I basically put it on the table and I said, I think we can tear this up. Because if we're not meeting your needs and you're not satisfying us as your supplier, I don't think that it's worthwhile. And we did. We shook hands and we walked away. Subsequently to that, we were called back to work, which we thought it was a joke and probably a hoax, but it wasn't. And I think, you know, in terms of suppliers, we're as good as our suppliers. As a supplier yourself, you're only as good. And when you do find a good supplier, it's important to hang on to them, to build those relationships, to nurture them. I also mentioned in the book about a supplier that helped us complete a project in 48 hours, and a traditional working time on this is 3 to 4 months. So, you know, just saying that, you have to know that that was only possible because we had a good, robust relationship, and we could pick up and not go penny deposits and, you know, do all of this. We had a trust working relationship. We've been working together for 8, 9 years. And it was pick up and let's go, and it was the best that we did. So you can only do that when you have those relationships. You can't, it works both ways. It has to be a mutually beneficial relationship.
I think that's important, because a lot of the time people think that conflict are the answers, and it's not. It's being able to professionally walk away, being able to see somebody outside of that workplace and still being okay, you know. So thank you for saying that. And I think I don't hear of much fights in the workplaces like how you hear like outside school. I don't know. Some of you sitting here looks very suspicious that you could fight at the workplace. But I'm sure we could talk about that in the question and answer time. Now, the biggest thing, and I think it's affected everybody's seated here today as well as every single industry, COVID-19, this pandemic. You know, we first were told we've got a week of lockdown. We're now in over a year. It's impacted every single person's businesses. It's either taken your life or livelihood, one of the two. And the events industry has been hit extremely hard, harder than most people actually realize. So how did you manage the sudden loss? What did you do to maneuver business? And what advice would you give to anybody seated here? Because COVID-19 affects every single person. So how did it work for you?
Yeah, COVID-19 certainly affected your industry and as well as mine, Natasha. And, you know, we immediately lost 100% of our business the day lockdown occurred, like many other industries. And yes, the events industry is hard hit, and it will continue to being that. You know, our events range in the hundreds to the thousands. So as you know, it's supposed to be 50 or 100, and that's not going to happen now. We work specifically in the medical and the pharmaceutical industry, and it's already a very governed and legislated industry traditionally, so this makes it even worse. You know, we had to transform overnight into a virtual setup, and that mindset and transformation from moving from a physical setup to something that's robust in terms of virtual was extremely challenging. Creatively, financially, technically. I mean, what do I know about this sitting in the back of the stuff, and I have a whole lot of doctors phoning to tell me they can't log on. What can I do? You know, it was very, very challenging for us. And, in this time, my advice is to anyone that runs their own business or anyone that's working in a business that is responsible for customers and client liaison or communication, PR, is to actually not to focus on your competitors, because people take time to focus on their competitors instead of their customers, and I think that is really a weak thing to do. It's in this time, I can tell you what we've been doing. We've been keeping close to our customers. And that's not about a sales pitch. So we haven't phoned for a sales pitch. We kept in touch with them, however, in whatever method, just to check up how they are and if there's anything they need. Because the actual fact is, the industry is going to open up. And when it does open up, we want to be the first people they think of to give business to and to communicate. The other thing that we've done really well, in my opinion, is that we've upskilled and cross-trained staff. So, we've been fortunate enough to keep majority of our staff throughout the lockdown without work, and we continue to do so. It's to, just having the diversity for them to cross-train on other aspects of the company to make them feel valuable and worthwhile, and thus improve their personal development.
So I know you're all sitting here, and I think it's important. This pandemic has hit all of us. I mean, we were also 100% down, but I also think we don't take enough time to exercise what the positive is in everything. This whirlwind has actually taught us how to be different, to push us to the borders and do things differently. It was extremely hard for us comedians because we were talking into cameras that nobody laughed at, we don't know if you were laughing on the other side, but we'll never know, right? It was so difficult for us to perform and also to have that income that was always there. But I've decided we decided, and I think you've done the same in your businesses, in the beginning, while people are so stressed about what will happen, a lot of people decided to make things happen immediately, and that will separate who's won this battle and who hasn't. And there's no definition on who cannot win it yet, because you're not too late for change. And when my husband says you can't use the word positive during this pandemic, I disagree. You have to be positive. And one of the simplest analogies I could use is people hate to wear the mask, right? Men are especially bad with this, and I'm sorry guys if you're the good ones, but men like to wear their masks which have no meaning under their nose or under here or whatever. Maybe today your wives are here so you got it on right, but I mean, this is one of the things that people hate, and it's suffocating. And I know fat people, we can't breathe for long in anything, right, let alone a mask. We're battling with the pants, now the mask. So like it's difficult. It was difficult for our lungs as well, but now that I think about it, it was so much easier to sit in a function and to gossip, because you don't have to do this anymore. You'll be talking about people and looking at them straight in the eye and nobody knows a thing. So always find the positive. Now I've got masks for every auntie I want to talk about, right? So find the positive and move away from that, because I think that's a big part. And I think that's what you did, and did it so classy that the transition was so good. And people never know what's happening on the back end, because you use that heavy water to move your sails and go with the wave. Now, my next question for you is, which is the one lesson in the book that a person who's employed and sitting here today can read personally to develop themselves, can go home and say, I want to do this and I want to do it now? Which one stands out for you the most?
The secret weapon: accommodate personalities. In the workplace today, we're a melting pot of diversity. We come from all backgrounds, from all creeds, from all experiences, to perform one common goal. And that means that we have to collaborate with our colleagues. And that in turn means that we go from anything from inspiring each other to irritating each other and everything in between. And, we've got to understand that there are personalities out there. Our personality is not the right personality, even though I think it is mine. You've got to get the best out of each individual, and that lesson actually is crafted to understand your personality, understand others, and how to respect them and work with them so that you get the best out of the situation.
And I want you guys to highlight that personalities. It's a huge thing, and you don't need to go far, because I'm glad you got the right attitude. I mean, most women do. No questions from the men at the moment, thank you. Most women do, and the thing is this, when lockdown hit, remember we go to work from 8 to 5, so we don't see that man. But when lockdown hit, you had to be with that man 24/7, and you just saw that terrible personality traits and all of that come out. This is not an attack on all men, just most of them. But you got to see this, and personalities, everything changed, because now you spend 24, even women. The men that married us, they didn't even know us until lockdown level 5, when you had to spend all day with us, and we walked behind you and said, pick it up, do this, move here, do this, do that. So it was a big time for personalities, and lots of new ones that came out. Did you guys have any fights? I just have to ask one personal question in between here. Did you and your husband have any fights during lockdown?
Lots.
No further questions. Yeah, well, when a man's bald, there's been problems there, okay? I know this because my husband started off with hair in our marriage and it's gone, okay? I see that you advocate a culture of learning and development, which is so important. Tell us about those core behaviors that you mentioned in this book that we could use in our day-to-day lives.
So, would you agree that all employees get paid to do a job? Not a trick question, Natasha. Okay, so they do. So what we've decided to do differently is we focus on the how they go about their jobs. So my reasoning is I was happy to incentivize over and above your job description, because you get paid a salary to do your job and whatever your responsibilities are. So let's look at it this way. If I asked 2 people in this room to go to the nearest donut place and buy a dozen donuts, I'm sure they'd both come back with the feet intact, right? They both achieve that. But if I viewed carefully and had a camera following them and saw how they went about doing it would be very different. And for me, that's what has set us apart from our competitors in the industry. We get loads of compliments, and when I dig deeper into every one of them, it focuses on the how, which is what we exhibit and what people get measured on. So that dreaded thing that's called a performance appraisal. Yeah, so ours is called Performance Connections, and it's focused on the how. So we talk about the how. It's what sets us apart and continues to set us apart, because every one of those compliments mentioned somehow how someone had done something, and we believe that's why we attract a lot of business.
That's a very interesting analogy, that she would use donuts on the same table as me. But it's so true what you said. Some people would go there and probably buy all plain because they wouldn't just, know what your flavor is. They wouldn't want to tap into different boundaries, but there might be another colorful personality that says, I'll take one of each, because what if somebody likes this more than the other? It's such a nice analogy, and it's a deep one to look into. So don't forget that when you're sending someone to buy your donuts. And it's interesting, because you're right, not everybody, if you sent a video camera, not everybody would do it exactly the same. Which is so nice that you're teaching us how to embrace difference as well and accept that. So I know we're here for this launch and this book, but I also heard, it goes back to my business of minding other people's business, right? That there is a second book on the horizon. Now, not telling us too much, just tell us a little bit. And is this true? And if so, tell us a little bit about it.
She certainly knows how to mind someone else's business. So yes, it's been an exciting time for me, launching Mind Your Own Business, as well as we launched on the 1st of May in Johannesburg, and just before that I completed the first draft of my second book. I'm excited to share more with you as soon as possible, and you just need to know that it's a fiction novel, so completely different to Diversity, right? And yeah, I'm sure we'll communicate with you guys as soon as that is available.
So I'm excited. There's already something new on the horizon, and we've just been here today. And I think this again is you not standing in one place and saying, that's it, I've achieved this. My book is now in one of the top leading places, exclusive books. I can stop here. I think that you've started, but there's no stopping. And I admire that in you. Obviously, if you want to know more, there is a website that is www.nevilecture.com, which I'll give you information of. And I think also today it's not just the encouragement of you just buy a book and go home and say you bought a book. But if you're sitting here, or even if you're tagging this event on social media platforms, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, this can also be a very nice Father's Day gift. Actually, that's a brilliant idea. I just thought of it now. And it's a good way to tell your father what to do in life, all right? In a nice way. Like, my father loves books, and he will appreciate this so much. So today, I feel like buying one book won't do justice. I feel like take a book that you can gift to people you work with, colleagues you work with, your employees, your manager, in a nice way. Maybe put some chocolates on top of the, the words first, and he opens the book and sees how magical it is, because you don't want to get fired too. But I mean, you could really just gift this out. It's the perfect gift. And I say that not enough people in this world are doing what is essential, which is reading. Because when you're empowered with knowledge, it's the one key that can open any lock of life. I must tell you, I could not put your book down. I'm now being very personal with you. I even took it to the toilet. But I sanitized this when I brought it here, guys. So I mean, like, very clean. It was one of those books that just captured you. There is one page I didn't read. I didn't want to say this here, right? Just pause the camera here so we won't put this on officialness. There's one page she had with like healthy eating tips. I skipped that page totally. I just saw avocado mousse and celery sticks. I'm like, no, this one here is not for me. I'm moving on gracefully. So this is one page I did not cover. There's like 20 of those, right? 20 good foods that you could eat. Yeah, for me, no. But there were some nice things there. Apples and rice cakes and all that things there. So you make sure you read that page. It's very important in this book and it really help you. But I'm excited about this journey. And guys, when we go to book launches and when we watch it, everybody is just so quiet. And for me, it has to really do with who the person is behind this, who the author is. Your personality is so lovely. I think when we met for the first time today, and she is a go-getter. And these characteristics are displayed right at the onset. She knows what she wants and she's going to get it. But also what she's trying to say in this book is that you can too. So there's no limitation. So if you're sitting here thinking, I've worked in this job for like 30 years, so like why must I change now? It's because some of the most successful people have changed their career at age 65 or 70. Some of the most successful people, like the one sitting right next to me, has changed their sails and adapted to the water. They have moved their mountains because they knew they could, and they did. And I think what you're doing is phenomenal, that you're willing to share and impart this knowledge on us to be able to attain our greatest good here and to go that extra mile. So is there anything, before I open it up to them, is there anything else you'd like to add? Any message you want to send to your husband that you can't say at home? Anything you want to undertone about his family? Whatever you want to do. Is there anything you'd like to say before we open up to the floor?
Nothing really that I can't tell him directly. I do tell him that every day, so I think it'd be boring now if I tell him. But just to say thank you for coming out. I know it's unprecedented times, and you have no idea how much that means to me to see that you guys sitting here with masks and just celebrating this important milestone with me. It's really, really awesome, and I thank you.
So, you know, I agree with what you say. This is the new norm. And this is how life's going to be for a little bit. But having said that, she's going to be changing your life in the next little bit. So it all starts here. And I did say in the beginning, guys, we're a complete family here. And also a huge thank you to Exclusive Books for having us here today. Thank you, guys. I have read every book on the shelf. I do that. Also when I go like to places like this and I can't afford a book, I quickly read all the like taglines, quickly, put on my Instagram, take pictures and I walk, okay? But thank you guys for having us here. And thank you for having the book here. I think that is the biggest achievement. That is such a huge thing because so many authors, and it's not a bad thing, but when you hear that there's authors, you never hear that they are here and they have arrived already. And what a proud moment it is that we're sitting here in your presence today and we can walk into Exclusive Books and purchase this book. Now, today you can purchase directly from them, and you've got everything there? All right, you got it all? Okay. You can purchase your books right from there before you come in for a signing. And I honestly believe, what is the price of the book? 306, not 99, just 306. Check, because don't come and tell me 306.99 when I come to the. It's 306 rand. Very reasonable. I would really encourage taking more than one. It's a brilliant gift, and I always say there is no price tag on knowledge, none at all. So we really do want it to be interactive, and I know you're probably sitting there with a few questions that I have not covered. So we'd like to open up to the floor, and really we're just a family here, and it's a very comfortable environment. So I'm going to open it up to the floor. If you have a question, please raise your hand and let our beautiful author now answer your questions. And please don't be that crowd that has no questions. Just think of something, please. It's very professional when other people think. Please carry on. Just put your hand up and figure it. There we go. Hi, sir. Thank you so much. We have a lot of questions. Just hang on, guys. We're just going to get to one at a time. Can you please stand up first, so you're a little bit louder, and then I'll...
So maybe I'll just drop it for the question. So Nivi, obviously we've walked a long path over many, many years, and in business terms, obviously the world is in a crisis, yeah, in many ways, and in many industries. So why in the midst of a crisis a new book, and and why now, I guess, that's the question.
That's a great question, Stu, thank you. So I've always wanted to write a book. Didn't really have it together about what I wanted to write. During the second month of lockdown, I realized that the president wasn't giving us a 5-week holiday and we were going to stay put. I decided to embark on a writing mentorship, and I spoke to my mentor. After much struggle to get into the mentorship, it was last minute that I decided this. I bugged her enough so she let me in. And what I wanted to write about was what I'm writing about in the second book. And I was highly irritated that she told me, no, park that one and write this story. Because my opening line to her was, yeah, I learned a lot of things that business school didn't teach me by the School of Hard Knocks. And she said, no, write this story. So yeah, I always wanted to write. It was a dream and a fascination of mine to do. And yeah, it came out in the form of a business book. Because the truth is, every one of us have a story. Some of us get it out, and some take a little bit longer.
All right, anyone else with some questions? Don't all jump at once. Okay, I got a question. So, you know, we live in a culture where people immediately start, and I've been through this in the industry, and I'll be, honest, and people may come out and say, wow, Nivi, sounds like a fantastic book, but 306 Rand out of my monthly spend. And I often find that people go and would spend thousands on restaurants, parties, drinks, but will never invest in themselves for a small amount. Can you please share with people, because right now your book looks gorgeous, you look gorgeous, it seems effortless, but so much goes into that book, so many nights, so many hours of effort. Can you take us through a little bit of the back end journey?
I believe lockdown was the right time for me to have written the book. I didn't really have work in the business in terms of everything that we could do with our eyes closed. You know, we were working at less than 10% of our capacity, of our usual capacity. So yeah, it was very, I thought it was going to be easier until my mentor started putting some huge pressure on me with deadlines, and word count is the swear word in our house at the moment. So, you know, I had to get so many thousand of words. You know, to get a book like this out, you've got to spend a good couple of years. I was done in the first 5 months, and then she told me the most horrific thing. She said, put it away, leave it alone. And it was hard for me. Like, what do you mean? You know, this is a lockdown baby. I need to get out before lockdown's over. And yeah, it's really grueling to dig deep, and also going through that journey of revisiting stuff was, you know, whilst it was therapeutic, it was tough, because there are lots of stuff there that I deliberated whether I should include or not. And I just kept true to the values, and my objective was to share with you what I didn't learn in business school. And that's exactly what I did. But yeah, it's a tough journey, and I just wanted to tell you, if you know somebody that's written a book, just give them a call and congratulate them, because it's not an easy feat going through. You know, I went through 9 edits of this book. At edit number 4, the editor said it's ready, and I was like, no, I dreamt about this. On page 43, I have a problem, I need to fix it. And yeah, I think that, you know, you want to make it perfect. And if you look at all the books, and you look at us amongst all the international authors here, I think that if any South African has taken the time to write something to share with you, I think it's absolutely incredible.
And it was important for you to talk about that, because people only look at the polished, finished product. The hours that go in, the hard blood, sweat and tears, the writer's block, which I'm sure you had. I know you said word count is the swear word in your house. So I don't know if you have kids. I don't have kids, so the swear word in my house is when I tell my husband, your mother. So yeah, that's the only swear word. I don't swear after that, you know. But I think that it's important, because when you pick up a book from the shelf, it's so easy to turn around and look at the price and be like, ah. It's really just sitting here for me today. This is the first time I'm a discussant on a book launch, but it really makes me appreciate what the author, the writer's gone through. Those nights, those moments, I've got a problem. 9 times in edit. Can you imagine the stress level there? And then to get this book out just to help people like us get to the next level of a better version of ourselves. So thank you for that. I think it's a phenomenal achievement to be amongst international authors and books, right here at Exclusive Books, and I think you can pat yourself on the back, because that is a huge achievement. She didn't want any attention towards herself. I mean, if it was me in Exclusive Books, my word, I'd come in a bikini here on a 5-degree day. I would have cleared all these shelves, threw all the other books out, put my books in. I'd have had my way. That's probably why I don't have a book here. I would have had my way, and you have no idea. Yes, I know some of you are picturing me in a bikini. I'll send pictures later. Thanks. So it's like, and I'm going to tell you this today. And I'm gonna, because you're such a simple, like, no, she said, I don't want the attention of walking there. You can own that attention, girl, because you have achieved it. It's all of that hard work that put you on the shelf of Exclusive Books, and you can proudly say that. So when you're hashtagging this event or tagging Nevi on Instagram, make sure that you clap your hands for the woman that's made it, because that's exactly what it is. So I had to play that song for you. So when you go home, you can do your bikini. This girl is on fire. You can do whatever you want for that Italian stallion there. Send pictures to us too, because we like things. But yes, sometimes you got to own that moment. And I think your level of confidence is clearly displayed in this book. I cannot thank you enough for what I got the book for free, guys. Don't buy another copy now, don't judge. And I think it's the best thing, but don't come here and ask for free things, no matter how long you work through that, okay? Please, I know you have a good relationship here, but you can see ours growing now. I think that when you come here, when you purchase your book and you come for a signing, bear that in mind. A woman that has not stopped. A woman we can go proudly into Exclusive Books and say, I know her. I heard her story. I get her. and then change your life from the book. So it's a phenomenal journey. We wish you everything of the best on your next journey. And we know you have one more book coming, but we wish you 100 more. That's going to be out here, and let's clear the shelf from all these. I can't clear the shelf. Okay, yeah. So I'm just a discussant. I'm not allowed to put the book where I want to, but I swear I'd be having banners, and I'd have like flash dancers from the entrance of Bolito Junction, and that's probably why I just stay in Chatsworth, because they don't take me to places for the same reason. But you own it, girl. I think it's beautiful. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we close off here today, huge thank you again for being here. Not easy in these unprecedented times. And thank you for joining us this beautiful Saturday morning. We moved into the afternoon. Those of you that have to go home to your wives, good luck. She must mind her own business. Don't forget. You just take the book now and you say it with the book, guys. And of course, exclusive books. Thank you. Nevi, thank you. And thank you to your husband as well. I've seen the support structure that you have. And they're very cute together. I mean, even if they were fighting today, nobody will say at all. He just turned to my husband and says, your wife gives you a hard time, right? And I'm thinking, is he trying to talk about his wife, or is he really talking about me, or is a message going through me, via me, to me? So I think it's great. Thank you for being here. You're going to have a lot of time. They're allowed to take pictures with you as well. Guys, make a noise. Make a noise. There could be 10 people in the room, but make a noise, because I think the more we celebrate the success of others, the more we allow ourselves to become successful. Make a noise, stop your feet, and tag this event, because this woman deserves everything and more. So take your pictures and your special messages, because you can be doing the signing now. And before you do the signing, please purchase the book at the counter, and then come through and do your signing, take your pictures, and be excited. Maybe we wish you all the best. 2021 is definitely going to be your itch year, and I'm telling you guys, as you read the book as well, don't forget the woman. You find that when we read books, we leave it there, we forget. Tag her. Say, you know, I love this one. Don't read that page with the avocado story. Don't tag me on that page, please. I will block all of you. I promise you, I'll block you. I feel nothing to block you. Don't tag me on the avocado page. I'm done. I'm tearing that page off the book today. I'm just going to leave it here quietly. Thank you, Nevi. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. And you know where to find this launch. And I will be making a lot of noise about it on my page, which is Bash and Tash. It's been an honor to be here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good afternoon and buy your books.